Greetings, crafters. This is Amy with Softwind Crafting. Today we're turning some simple paper into handmade magic. So grab your supplies and let's get started. And today I am going to be making a gift card holder using the homemade sweetness set, or filled with sweetness set. I guess is that there's another, the paper I guess is called homemade sweetness. So this is filled with sweetness. And this is a gift card holder because when you pull the spoon, you're going to lift out a gift card from underneath that is hidden inside the jar. And then of course you have the inside of the card to write your message. Anyway, so let's go ahead and get started with making this card. All right, so what we're going to need is I apologize. I am right next to the laundry room and there's a load of laundry going, and my washing machine has decided that today it wants to be extra noisy because I've decided that this is my time that I'm doing the video. But anyway, this is a piece of Secret Sea cardstock, and it measures 8.5 by 5.5, and I did score it at 4 1/4. So it's just right down the middle. This is half a piece of cardstock scored down the middle. I also have a piece of cloud cover. This is what we're going to cut the jar out of. I have a piece of DSP, and this is the Homemade Sweetness DSP. Yeah, Homemade Sweetness. And so it comes with all kinds of different papers with some small jars, and then has a strawberry slush background, some fruit. We're going to use the fruit pages, some flowers, very small jars, the big jars here, spoons. Oh, one of those I haven't used yet, but the back of the small jars has like lined notebook paper. You have your spoons with some cute strawberry slush hearts, and then we have some cute daisies with some ladybugs, which matches the embossing folder that comes with the suite. But right now the suite is not available because the embossing folder is out, and I don't think it's available until April. But we're not using the embossing folder today. We have some check pattern on the back, and then that is our DSP, the Homemade Sweetness. And we're going to use the fruit. We're also going to use a piece of the Lunar Lustre. And it's this very matte silvery paper. It still has that silver luster to it, but not quite as shiny as regular metallic paper. And we're going to use this to make the spoon. We also have a piece of basic white cardstock, and this is 3 3/8 by 3. So the 3/8 part is going to go up to the top, where the 3 is going to be the side to side. We have another piece of DSP that we're going to use to make this into a gift card holder, and it is 1.5 by 3 1/16. So I made it just a hair larger than the width of the card, and that is because I wanted to have some give for when I put in my gift card, right? And then we just have some scrap white that we're going to use to make our label, and I already cut out the label, and I'm going to use this particular piece from the die set. I'll show you that in a second, and then we're going to cut out some strawberries and blueberries. Okay, so let me just kind of move this up, and let me show you the stamp set that we're going to be using. This is the Filled with Sweetness. We're going to create this jar. Now, I did start off thinking I wanted to make the lid, and I can't find the lid now. I don't know where I moved it to, but I'll try to do it on another card. But I decided not to. We're just going to have an open jar that we can pull out our gift card holder. And then we're going to use the dies that go with this. And I decided I wanted a birthday themed card because I've got some birthdays coming up. And so I'm going to use an old retired stamp set, the Round We Go, to get the happy birthday and time to celebrate. Okay, so I'm just going to put that aside for right now. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and get started with stamping our jar, and then we'll cut it out and we'll get started. Okay, so let's go ahead. let me put this aside. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use my new stamp positioner tool. And I'm using, this is a new stamp positioning tool that Stampin' Up is coming out with. I can't talk today. And it's spring loaded. Now, it's not available yet to the general shopping audience. And we don't know exactly when it's coming out. I'm hoping it will be available in the summer catalog or the one that's coming out soon, but I don't know if that's true or not. People going to On Stage, they'll find out for sure. But we're going to use this because the jar is so big. All right, so let me go ahead and put on, this is our cloud cover, and I'm just going to kind of line it up on the paper. And let me get out the stamp set. So it is a polymer stamp set, so it's easy to see it, but the jar itself, it's just pretty large. So let me go ahead. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put it on I'm just using this to cut it out, so it doesn't need to be lined up in any particular way because we're going to cut it out anyway. So now I'm going to bring in my positioning tool and I'm just going to squish it down. Now it is photopolymer, so at first it does stick to, oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't put the magnets down on the cardstock. So let's try that again. Now it's still kind of sticky. It seems like my stamp sets always stick to the paper, so with the photopolymer right away. So you gotta have to see, it wants to come up with the thing. You just gotta be careful when you're pulling it up. Okay, all right, so I'm going to flip it over and we're going to add some Secret C. This will make it really stand out against the cloud cover. And so, because it's a large stamp set, of course, you want to move your ink across the stamps. And then we're going to flip it over. Just going to kind of line it up. And then, so it's not touching the paper yet. I'm going to have to push down, but I can get a very even tone because it is spring loaded. So it's pushing evenly down. All right, so I'm just letting the ink transfer, and then we're going to pick it up. And you know, it comes up better once it has ink on it. All right, so there we go. We have that ready to cut out. So let me just take this off and kind of move this aside. I'm going to show you how the dies work with this, because the dies, they actually cut out like a card with the jar. So you're getting two, and it is connected because it's scored right here, but we only want to use half of it. So we're just going to cut out half, and we're just going to, I'm going to use some Post-it tape to hold the die in place as I put it through the cut and emboss machine. Okay, so let me just, and I'm not always the best at lining these up. I think they're lined up good, and then after I run them through, I'm like, oh my gosh, I had it off over here. So give me a second. I think that looks good. Let me put that piece there. Grab another piece right there. Okay, so when I put this through my cut and emboss machine, because it is a big stamp, and see, it already looks funky to me. You want to make sure you kind of put it off, not going straight through, because it makes it hard. It's hard to crank through when it's so straight. Okay, so you want to kind of put it at, when you put your cardstock in, we're going to put it at a slight angle. Golly, I cannot get this to line up the way I want it to. The top wants to line up, and then the bottom's off, then the top is lined, the bottom's lined up, and then the top is off. I'm just going to go with it. Okay, so back again, the tape. So when I put it in, instead of putting it straight through, I do want to put it kind of at an angle. So get the corner first and then roll through. It's a little bit easier. So give me just a second to run this through my machine. It won't be perfectly straight because the die is so big, but here we go. Cranking it through. Now, if I had a large half a piece of cardstock, it would cut out like a booklet. Not a booklet, a card. Okay, but we don't need that big of a piece, so let me put that aside. But I did have this extra piece here. So I'm just going to cut along the score line, because there's where it would make the fold. Okay, and we are just going to cut down the edge. And there we go. So we'll have that ready to go. All right, so the next thing I want to do is let's go ahead and just take our fruit and put it on the card. And we are going to grab some glue. This is directional, so be careful, because when I was making the card, I almost put the paper on upside down. And that would be kind of not what I want to do. All right, so let's put that down a little evenly. Okay. All right. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I did not cut out the jar. So there is a die for that, to cut an opening in the jar, and it's this little piece right here, and it lines up perfectly with the top of the jar. So I'm going to go ahead and again grab some tape. Post-it note tape is such a great invention. Let me run this through the embossing machine. Cut and emboss machine, because it does both. Oh, that would have been such a horrible thing to get my what do we call it? A gift card pocket ready to go, and then forget to cut in the hole after I got it done. So there you can see. I don't know if you can see it very well on the camera, but there's the opening. We can then put our spoon through. So that's pretty cool. Okay, next, let's go ahead and take our DSP, and we're going to glue it to, and this, gosh, the blueberries are upside down, but then the strawberries upside down. I think it goes this way. I think yes, you can see strawberries are upside down here. So I'm just going to put some glue on 3 sides, but I want to keep it on the edge and keep it kind of light, because I want my card to fit in here. Okay, my gift card. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start off, because I do have that extra 1/16 of an inch. Okay, so what I'm going to do, now I'm going to go ahead and make sure it's glued. It's going to poof up a little bit. Okay, but you want it to poof up. Okay, so you can bend the card to get it to line up better. That's what I did before. Okay, so just kind of bend it, and it makes the paper lie on it a little better. But then you have room now for a gift card to slip inside. Okay. All right, so that piece is done, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait to put the spoon on. So this is my die cut of the spoon, and I did it again in the Lunar Lustre, and I did it pretty straight, but you got to be careful, because when you have it on the jar on here, the jar is really big. It takes up a lot of the card front, and so when you put your spoon on, and oh no, you know what? I didn't take into account the hole. That's why I did the other one smaller. Okay, so what we can do, the easy fix, we pull this out, we can trim off the edge, okay, and then just glue down again. So that was not a good, I didn't think of that. I was thinking more of, will it fit behind the card? So let me grab my trimmer. And I'm just going to cut off just a smidgen. So I did 3 1/16. Let's cut down to, let's go a little bit more. Okay. So maybe just 3. It's still a little tight, but it'll work. And you don't have to pull it all the way out. So, I mean, you can if you want to work it back in. So a little, like maybe just a 1/16 shy of 3 would be a good measurement. So when I put that in the description, I'll do that. Okay, so that's ready. Oh, but what I was saying is, once you have this in your jar, okay, so it's going to be down in there, and it's here, you want to make sure that the spoon is not sticking up off the card. So I wanted to have it this time a little bit more centered, so something like that. But we're going to put it down more so that the gift card piece is more inside the card. Okay, so how do we do this? Now you can use dimensionals and put them down the side, so you may want to adjust the size, the width of your gift card holder a little bit if you're going to use dimensionals. I'm going to use the adhesive strips, okay, the foam adhesive strips. So I'm going, they're very thin, they're thinner, they're more poofier than regular dimensionals, but at the same time they're also thinner. So it gives you a little bit more room inside your card. So I'm coming over here to the edge, and I want to make sure I don't go all the way. See how this goes down? So I don't want to bring that any further than about right there because of the dip. Okay. When I did it the first time, you could see the adhesive. Okay, so now I'm going to come over. Let me turn this around so I can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to come here. Again, going along the edge. And let me cut that piece off. And then what I'm going to do, I don't want to go all the way because it keeps the card from going further down. So I'm just going to use the very bottom of the jar right there. That way the card can go further in. Okay. So let me pull these off. Oh, I hope this works. I've done so many adjustments to this. Okay, so I'm going to bring this down to the bottom so that I have room for my spoon. Okay, and there we go. So now we have our jar, and you have this opening here. Now if you wanted to, you could glue this piece of the jar down. That way it stays down, and this is more to be open, so it gives you a better opening to think. All right, so what I want to do is I just want to slide this in. Okay, I'm just testing. See how, I caught on it. And see, so now you can see it goes all the way in. But now I got to pull it out so I can get my spoon to the back of this. And remember, I don't want it to be above more than that above the card. I know this is looking very confusing, but you get the idea, right? So if I do that here, we still have room. So I'm just going to kind of like put a little, I'm going to put a little tiny pencil mark just so I know where to put that up to on the piece. And it's so light you can just barely see it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add my glue. I wish it were a whole spoon and not just a little piece of the spoon handle. So there you go. Oh, the only thing is that there would have, oh, I didn't even notice that. But maybe it blends in with the paper. It does kind of stick out the bottom. if I didn't add that foam a little bit here to keep it from peeking down. It does end up, so just maybe keep that in mind. Maybe you do want to add a little dimensional here so that it doesn't quite go all the way to the bottom. I may go in and do that just so that, but you just want to make sure, keep it enough to where it doesn't come out of the jar. But there you go. So that part's ready to go. And isn't that cute? You pull the spoon and then the gift card appears. And if you want to, you could stamp some kind of message so that when they pull out the gift card, they have a little message back there. All right, so I'm going to put that right there. And now let's go ahead and decorate the front of the card. And I had a piece for the inside of my card, and I may have used it on another card because now I'm not seeing it. All right, so here we go. This is going to be the front of the card, and I already die cut some a blueberry and strawberry. And so with the blueberries, I used Misty Moonlight, the dark and the light, to color my blueberries. And for the strawberry, I used Old Olive for the leaf. I used Poppy Parade to outline and do the seeds on the strawberry, and then I used Strawberry Slush to kind of color it in. I used Poppy Parade to give it that darker shading to it. All right, so what we're going to do is, let me grab my Time to Celebrate. And let me grab a block. And I'm going to do this in Secrecy. So let me tap, tap, tap. And now just to kind of get it in the center. I'm sorry, my head may come in view. I'm sorry about that. Let me straighten that out so I can see that it's straight when I stamp. And I hope it's straight. It's pretty straight. Okay. And I've already had this up on some adhesive strips that are kind of give it dimension. So I'm not going to add any more because I do want to be able to mail this a little easily. So what I'm going to do is I am going to, let me add a little bit of glue. And I'm going to bring this up here, kind of center it. I put the strawberry on top, but maybe this, nope, I want the strawberry on top. Okay, and then our blueberries we're going to put down here at the bottom. Okay, all right, so again, I'm just not if you weren't mailing this, maybe you would add more dimensionals if you like all that dimension. But I'm keeping it kind of flat because it already has a lot with the adhesive strips, and then therefore I can still put it in the mail. Okay. All right. And so for the inside, give me a second because I got rid of my insert for the card. Let me grab a piece of basic white. And I couldn't quite reach it. All right, so now let me go ahead and cut it down to, let's see, 5 1/4 by 4. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add happy birthday. Grab that stamp. And my Secrecy. You could use whatever colors. There's lots of different colors. You could use Strawberry Slush. You could use Poppy Parade. You could use Night of Navy. I like Secrecy. So I'm just going to put this at the top. And I have a heart in the stamp set for the Filled with Sweetness, and I forgot to grab my Poppy Parade. Let me grab Strawberry Slush. Things are a little bit more difficult for me to reach, so let's grab this. Tap, tap, tap. I can't tell if it's inked up because there we go. And now we're ready. We can put that on the inside of our card. Let me get that out of the way. I'm so glad you're sitting through my journey here. I hope my washing machine wasn't too horribly loud for this video because I'm not going to have time to do it again. It just seems like it's quiet when I'm not doing anything, and then it's noisy when I'm trying to do something. So there you go. I mean, it's just the way it is. Let me grab my bone folder. Let's give this a good crease. Now you have that dimension, so I'm going to turn it over this way so I can actually get my crease in there, because this was keeping me from doing too well on the back. And like I said, let's add a little, let me add a little tiny piece of the adhesive strip down at the bottom to keep the, let me pull this out first so it's not going to get stuck. So I just want to add that to the bottom here. And let me do a little piece. Trying to get it to tear with my bare hands, not probably the best idea. Okay, so I'm going to come over here to the bottom on this side. Sorry I'm out of frame, but I got to be able to see. What I'm doing is I'm trying to get it this one close to the bottom. Come on. So what I'm trying to do is stick it way down here, close to the very bottom of the thing. Okay, so there, and so just bare little bit of white just barely kind of peeks out, but I think if I were a little better about where I stuck my adhesive down here, it wouldn't be even that noticeable. But anyway, I love the idea of that, and I've seen people do this as like a peekaboo with an inside hidden message, but my idea when I first saw the stamp set was, oh, that would make such a cute gift card holder that they could then pull the spoon and pull out a delicious gift card, okay, and still have messaging on the inside that you could write your little birthday message to. Anyways, I appreciate you watching this video. So just kind of to wrap up the end, this is a March online exclusive. So if you go into Stampin' Up, to my Stampin' Up store at Stampin' Up or softwindcrafting.stampinup.net, you can shop for Filled with Sweetness. It will be available as an online exclusive. So you can just type in the search button, Filled with Sweetness, or you can go to online exclusives and then find this particular stamp set and dies. Okay, paper is also available. The paper is Homemade Sweetness, I believe. Okay, and if you spend $75 or more, you can get the online exclusive. It's a stamp set. It has a very cute bunny deer, and I can't remember what it's called, something with spring. I just got mine on order, so I don't have it yet, so I can't show it to you. But it's such a cute stamp set for spring and Easter. and I think you people will really enjoy making cards with it. If you spend $50 in my store, I will send you a free card kit that you can use to make some cards, and I try to keep it to where you can use what stamps you have, but you would get some designer series paper, some dies that are already ready to go. You would just need to do your own stamping. Okay. Again, this is Amy with Softwood Crafting, and thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate it.